Hello and welcome to Ani's Short Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Ghoul of Godshill. The moon hung low and full over the thatched roofs of Godshill, its silvery light casting an eerie glow on the cobblestone streets. Holly Arnold stood at the edge of the village green, clutching a battered notebook filled with hastily scribbled clues. Godshill, once a picturesque haven for tourists, had become a ghost town. Shops were shuttered, windows barred, and the only sound was the occasional creak of a weathered sign swinging in the wind. It had started 3 weeks ago. At first, the villagers whispered about strange shadows darting between the ancient yew trees of All Saints' churchyard. Then came the chilling sightings, a hunched, skeletal figure with hollow eyes and claws like scythes. Livestock were found mutilated, their carcasses drained of blood. Some claimed the ghoul, for that's what they called it, was a revenant from the village's dark past. Others believed it was an omen, a harbinger of doom. Holly, a folklore researcher with a penchant for unraveling mysteries, had been drawn to Godshill after reading a cryptic article about the ghoul. It wasn't just academic curiosity that brought her here, she had a personal stake. Her grandmother, a lifelong resident of the Isle of Wight, had vanished 50 years ago under similarly mysterious circumstances. The parallels were too striking to ignore. Her investigation led her to the churchyard that night. Armed with a flashlight, her notebook, and a silver dagger gifted to her by an eccentric occultist, Holly stepped through the rusted iron gate. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Gravestones jutted out at odd angles, their inscriptions weathered by centuries of rain and wind. As she ventured deeper, the atmosphere grew heavier, as if the air itself resisted her intrusion. Then she saw it. A figure crouched beside an open grave, its movements jerky and inhuman. The ghoul. Its skin was a sickly grey, stretched taut over sharp bones, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent red light. Holly froze, her breath caught in her throat. The creature turned its head, sensing her presence. With a guttural snarl, it launched itself toward her. Holly's instincts took over. She darted behind a large tombstone, clutching the silver dagger tightly. The ghoul's claws scraped against the stone, inches from her face. Summoning her courage, she lashed out, the blade slicing through the creature's forearm. A howl of pain erupted from its gaping maw as it recoiled, clutching its wound. Holly demanded, her voice trembling but resolute. To her shock, the ghoul spoke, its voice a raspy whisper. "The bound cannot rest." Holly's mind raced. Bound. Betrayed. The words hinted at a curse, an unfinished business tethering the creature to this world. But who had bound it, and why? She needed answers. The next morning, Holly visited the village archives. Dust motes danced in the sunlight streaming through the library's tall windows as she pored over brittle documents. Her persistence paid off when she stumbled upon a diary belonging to Reverend Elijah Barker, who had served at All Saints' Church in the late 18th century. The entries revealed a grim secret. A man named Samuel Drewer, accused of witchcraft, had been executed and buried in unhallowed ground near the church. Barker's guilt-ridden words hinted that Samuel had been innocent, framed by a jealous rival. But he swore vengeance. May God forgive us. Realizing the ghoul was Samuel Drewer, Holly formulated a plan. If she could consecrate the grave and offer a genuine apology on behalf of the village, perhaps she could lay his tormented soul to rest. But time was running out. That night the ghoul would return. Armed with holy water, a prayer book, and her silver dagger, Holly returned to the churchyard. The grave lay shrouded in an unnatural mist. Holly began a ritual, her voice steady as she recited the prayers. The air grew colder, and the ghoul appeared, its crimson eyes locked on her. "Was Samuel Drewer. You were wronged, and I seek to make amends." The ghoul hesitated, its menacing posture faltering. Holly sprinkled holy water on the grave and placed her hand over her heart. "I am sorry for the injustice you suffered." For a moment silence reigned. Then the ghoul let out an unearthly scream, its body dissolving into ash that scattered on the wind. The oppressive weight lifted from the churchyard, replaced by a profound stillness. The village of Godshill slowly returned to life. The shops reopened, Laughter echoed through the streets, and the shadows seemed less menacing. Holly, however, couldn't shake the feeling that her work wasn't done. The notebook in her bag was filled with other mysteries waiting to be unraveled, each one a thread in a vast tapestry of the supernatural. As she boarded the ferry back to the mainland, Holly glanced at the Isle of Wight's receding shoreline. The Ghoul of Godshill was gone, but the island's secrets were far from exhausted. And Holly Arnold, the hunter of shadows, was ready for whatever came next. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.